All right, another spark and another build. The loom is set. Today we're tackling the very heart of the game, the foundational force of the entire TNT ecosystem.
We're talking about the titans themselves, the mytho-industrial paragons of skilled trades. These aren't just characters, they are narrative anchors, the mechanical backbone, and the very soul of the game.
But before we dive into the lore, the grand strategy, let's answer the first question everyone has. How do you actually play this game?
It's elegantly simple. In fact, we can break it down right here. So, how do you play Tools and Titans? Easy. Draw your cards, charge your energy, build your field, act with your powers, clash with your titans, end your turn.
6 steps, 1 epic battle. We'll come back to that rhythm because it's everything. But first, the deep dive. Who truly are the Titans?
The Titans are godlike avatars of craftsmanship, construction, engineering, healing, even invention itself. Think of them as living symbols of real-world trades, but elevated into myth.
So not just a carpenter, but the archetypal carpenter. Not just an electrician, but a storm-wielding master of the current.
Exactly. They are the central protagonists you play as. Heroes, yes, but more than that, they're world builders. They literally shape the metaphysical infrastructure of the world through their actions.
Let's talk about that metaphysical level. What do they represent? What's the big idea?
On a macro level, they represent mastery. Mastery over craft, structure, and utility. They are the force that brings order to chaos through ingenuity and the proper use of tools.
And they are the defenders of something you mentioned earlier, the Forge Accord. That sounds important.
It's central to their identity. The Forge Accord was a long-lost pact, a sacred agreement that once balanced the world. It decreed that creation should serve purpose. That power must be yoked to utility. That craft is a responsibility.
And the Titans are the living memory of that accord, fighting for its principles even after it was broken.
They are, and each Titan embodies a different tenet of it. Metallurgy, solar energy, medicine, logistics. Each one forms the backbone of a deck's identity and its mechanical philosophy.
So let's place them in the timeline. Where do they come from?
They're what the lore calls the second-generation deific order. They emerged after the raw, chaotic primordials first shaped the world, but crucially, they rose before the rust-born corruption began its spread.
So you have this clear progression. Primordials, a world of raw, untamed creation. Then Titans, who give that creation form and function. And then the Rustborn, who seek to undo it all.
Precisely. The Titans stand between formless chaos and malevolent decay. Their rise marks the second great era of craft, a time when trade became culture, and that industrial mythic balance was first forged.
And you can see this in where they come from. They aren't just concepts. They have homes, strongholds.
They do, and each one reflects their trade. Ferrum, the master of metallurgy, hails from the Great Forge Vault, a mountain hollowed out into a perfect, ever-burning forge. Machinara, the time technician, resides in the Clockwork Vale, a valley where the rivers flow in perfect time and the gears of reality are exposed.
Let me guess. Solaritan, the solar energy titan, comes from the solar deserts?
The very same, an endless dune sea of crystalline sand that converts sunlight into pure energy. And you have Aquarius in the deep wells, Drafton, the blueprint manipulator, in the echoing chambers. These locations aren't just flavor text. They influence zone-based mechanics in the game. They're tied to the land itself.
Which brings us to the big question. Why do they matter so much? In a game with corrupted counterparts and other factions, why are the Titans the pillar?
Because they are the pillar of resistance. They fight against entropy, against the decay of the Rustborn. They represent the idea that trade and craft are sacred, sustaining forces. In gameplay terms, your Titan, is your win condition.
Their tools and their structures, they literally let you build your way to victory. You control the tempo, the utility, the entire progression of the match.
And narratively, they are the heart of every expansion. They are who you follow in the story. Their successes and failures drive the world forward. So understanding how they work is fundamental.
Okay, let's get into the nuts and bolts. How do they operate in the game? The core card systems?
It all starts with the Titan card, one per deck. It defines your passive and active abilities, and just as importantly, its Ascension potential.
Ascension. That's when they power up, when they fulfill their purpose.
Right? And to get there, you use their other unique cards. Tool cards, which are thematic items only they can use. Structure cards, durable assets that change the playing field itself. And weave cards, which are all about energy flow and synergy.
And I see something here called cast cards. What are those?
Cast cards are Titan-exclusive burst effects. Think of them as moments of pure efficiency, flashes of innovation. They are precision moves that only the Titans, with their mastery of craft, can execute. The Rustborn don't get them. It's a key mechanical distinction.
So the whole game loop revolves around this idea of craftsmanship, a process.
It's a forge-to-conflict loop. You build your structures, you charge your energy, you equip your tools, you complete tasks, and only then do you defend or attack. Once a Titan fulfills its unique Ascension trigger, it transforms, gaining new abilities.
It all comes back to that core loop, doesn't it? That fundamental rhythm of a turn.
Every Titan turn, draw, charge, building, act, clash, end, 6 steps, infinite ways to forge your victory.
So with that loop in mind, let's talk strategy. Every faction in a TCG has its strengths and weaknesses. What's the profile for the Titans?
Their biggest strength is versatility and synergy. Depending on the Titan you choose, you can flex into a control strategy, a powerful combo deck, or even a straight-up aggro build. The synergy between their tools, casts, and structures allows for massive mid-game power swings.
That Toolchain power, as the mechanics call it. The more tools you have, the stronger your effects become. And they sound resilient, with all this talk of building.
Extremely. Strong defensive options through structure deployment give them a high structural threshold. And maybe most importantly, each Titan offers a unique craft fantasy. Playing as Ferrum feels like a master blacksmith. Playing as Solaritan feels like a patient engineer.
Okay, but they can't be invincible. Where are they vulnerable?
They are very reliant on their build-up. Most Titan decks need time to ramp up. If you rush them early, they can struggle.
So their strength, building, is also a potential weakness if you don't give them time.
Exactly. Their strategy can also be a bit predictable. If you see a Solaritan on the other side of the table, you know they're probably going for a long-term eco-engine. A good player has to mask their true intentions.
And what happens if you can't ascend?
That's the critical failure point. Missing your Ascension timing can leave your Titan feeling underpowered. And finally, they are very vulnerable to the Rustborn's Scorch mechanics, which are designed specifically to destroy tool-reliant strategies.
A built-in rivalry. The careful builder versus the reckless demolisher.
It's a rock-paper-scissors dynamic baked right into the lore. The Rustborn's scorched earth tactics are the natural enemy of the Titan's careful construction.
Let's zoom in on some of those archetypes. You said they can play control? What does that look like?
That's the domain of Titans like Machinara and Constructus. They slow the game down to a crawl for the opponent. Machinara can disrupt turn loops, literally stealing the other player's next action phase. Constructus erects structures that are incredibly difficult to remove, creating a fortress your opponent can't breach. It's about saying no to everything the other player wants to do.
The classic fortress deck. Frustrating, but powerful. What about the opposite, the big explosive turn, combo?
That would be Drafter and Ferrum. They thrive on multi-tool triggers and casting chains. With Ferrum, you might spend 4 turns just placing tools, seemingly doing nothing. Then on turn 5, you activate his Toolchain overdrive, triggering 5 effects at once. Suddenly you draw half your deck and build an unstoppable board out of nowhere.
High risk, high reward. And aggro? For players who want to get straight to the fight.
That's Electrus and Carpenter. They push early damage with offensive tools and low-cost combos. Carpenter can deploy cheap, temporary structures that give his other cards a power boost for 1 critical turn. It's about overwhelming the opponent before they can execute their own game plan.
And the last 2 were more unusual. Eco Engine and Tempo Flex.
Right. The Eco Engine is the specialty of Celeriton and Verdesia. They focus on building a long-term, sustainable advantage. Celeriton generates sustained tokens every turn, which passively scale up her power. It's a slow burn that becomes an inferno in the late game. Tempo Flex is for tricky titans like Technius and Metacore. They don't just play the board, they play the rules, manipulating turn order or even player health totals to maintain constant pressure.
It really drives home how picking your titan defines your entire approach. Each one is a complete mechanical and thematic package. They are the masters of the Forge.
They are. They have exclusive access to cast cards, they synergize with structures, zones, and tools, and they interact with the different subtypes of the weave. The green weave for Celeriton's slow growth, the echo weave for Drafter's mirror effects, the pattern weave for Constructus's orderly builds.
So to bring it all home, the Titans are craft and control over chaos. They are trade made mythic. They are the builders, the innovators, and the last line of defense against a world of decay.
They are versatile, structured, and they reward careful planning. From the first card you draw to the final moment you clash, playing a Titan is an exercise in building your own victory, 1 piece at a time.
And it all starts with those 6 simple moves.
In every match of Tools and Titans, your tradecraft unfolds in 6 simple moves: draw, charge, building, act, clash, end. Simplicity for the novice.
Mastery for the Titan.